Hey man, how you doing? My name's Bear. I'm from Sacramento, California. I'm 31 years old and I'm a rebuilt man.
Guys, what is going on? Welcome back today to another amazing episode of the Rebuilt Man podcast. I'm your host, Coach Frank Rich, and we have an exciting episode for you guys today. We're bringing back the I Am Rebuilt series. So those of you that are new out there and are not familiar with the I Am Rebuilt series, this is the transformative testimony series of the men inside of our Rebuilt Your Life program. And today we have a young man who just graduated, just finished his 12-week journey through the Reboot Your Life program, transformed his life, created a new identity, has rebuilt a young marriage that was on the rocks, but he's excited about what the future is going to hold. And we're going to talk about his journey, some of the insights, some of the things that brought him into our program. But joining me here today on the Rebuilt Man in the I Am Rebuilt series is Bear. Bear, good to see you, brother. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Coach Frank? Thanks for having me, man. This is such an honor. I'm so grateful that, you came into my life and, just to see where I am today, just to be in front of you, being able to share this testimony is just something that I never thought would be possible.
Well, I appreciate that, man, and it's been an honor on my set here as well, man. It's truly been remarkable to be down this journey with you, to get a chance to talk to you on a weekly basis, to see you grow, transform week over week. So we're gonna dive right in, man. We're gonna talk about where you were at before. So we're just going back. I mean, a little over 3 months ago when you and I initially connected. Kind of talk us through, man, kind of what was going on in life right now. What kind of things had you been struggling with? What things had you maybe tried and attempted that just hadn't worked, that kind of reached you to that point where it's like, I got to do something about this and I got to do something about it now. So where were you just 3 months ago?
Yeah, well, 3 months ago, right around the time, just around when I met you, I was probably in one of the darkest places I'd ever been in my life. I had actually just been kicked out of my house, separated from my wife for, kind of a long couple years of string of infidelity, kind of through pornography and talking to women online and texting women and stuff like that, which is something that I always struggled with my whole life. And it got, I thought it would get better when I got married, and I thought it would go away, but it was actually something that got worse, and I had to do it more in secret, just because my wife, knowing about it and finding out. And so yeah, I had recently been kicked out of my house. I was staying with my parents and just going through a whole bunch of stuff, not knowing if my marriage was gonna, be able to be restored or what the future of that looked like. So I actually met with a counselor who actually plugged me into a master class of a couple people that Tony and Elisa, that do One Extraordinary Marriage conferences and podcasts. And so you actually were the keynote speaker on that. And when you revealed your program, The Rebuilt Man, I just couldn't believe how amazing it sounded. And so I just knew where I was is not where I wanted to be, and if I didn't do something about it, that I was going to lose everything in my life, and I just didn't want to face that, what that was going to look like. So I just knew I needed to do something, and I was just so grateful that you came into my life at just the right time.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And I think your story and journey is one that so many men can resonate with. I think that lie, right? That the marriage will solve the problem. That the marriage will be the thing that we need to get this out of our life. If anything, marriage becomes a magnifying glass. It becomes a magnifying glass not just on our problems with pornography, but on all the problems that we're either avoiding or trying to escape from. And I remember that initial conversation with you, man, knowing and hearing the pain. I could hear it and see it in you. I was like, okay, this guy's got a big driving why, which I think is important and crucial to finding success. But you had mentioned you've been kind of struggling for years now. Prior to jumping into our program, what were maybe some of the things that you tried out there that maybe hadn't had any level of success? Because I think a lot of guys are in a similar position where maybe they're trying some of these things on their own, but they're not yet finding any breakthrough. So what were some of the failed attempts for you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, throughout the times that, I had been caught and just kind of, exposed, my sin was exposed on certain different levels, I did eventually, seek some type of help in through my church, where I joined something called Celebrate Recovery. So what was really cool about that was that, it did work for a while, and I did meet a lot of great people. But what happened was that I kind of went through the motions and did these things and went to the groups and went through the classes and did some of the book work and stuff like that, really thinking that, okay, because I'm doing these things, like I'm gonna change, because I'm doing these things, I'm gonna be healed from this. When in reality, that was completely not the fact. And, eventually that kind of like build up just fell apart and I just went right back into my old lifestyle. And so I tried to find help before in certain things, and things did help in some way, shape and form, but nothing was the total transformation that I was truly looking for, that I really needed.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about, the experience going through the 12-week program, what it did for you in terms of laying out a process, how it, simplify things, maybe some of the things that you learned about yourself, maybe some of the things that through the program, like you didn't understand at the time how it was all kind of connecting together. We've had a lot of conversations over the 3 months where you're like, I didn't realize it was going to be about this. So kind of talk through kind of like your experience and what you kind of took away from the program.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, when I initially joined the program, I thought it was just going to be a program to help you with porn addiction or just kind of sexual addiction in general, and kind of give tools and methods of how to like avoid, dealing with that, or kind of defeating it in a sense. But once I actually, got into the program, and as the weeks progressed, just being able to see it was such a more personal approach to understanding about who I am and like where I was, where I came from, where I am now, and where I need to go or where I want to go. And so it's such a comprehensive approach to understanding myself and my role in the situation, and not like casting blame on others or looking externally to kind of, justify, where my life had gotten at that time. And so, yeah, just your approach to the program to be able to put the spotlight back on me, and really take responsibility for my actions and see, my role in everything, and being able to execute, in a healthy way to dealing with things. It completely, as the weeks progressed, it completely just shattered my initial expectations about, what this program was about. As much as it is about, defeating porn addiction, it's much more about understanding your identity, and that was
Mm,
huge. That was something I did not know at all. Understanding my identity, understanding my capacity, understanding everything that was always within me, dealing with all my insecurities. All these things were the underlying factors that were underneath this porn addiction, that were fueling this sexual addiction, to kind of cope with and deal with this trauma. I think that's one thing I mentioned throughout this program, was that as a man growing up, I never really took the time to evaluate that I had some type of trauma in my life. And this program, after going through the assignments and talking to you and just really thinking about things that happened to me in life, I realized I did go through trauma, right? And things did hurt me, and have an impact on me. And I never addressed those things. I never process those things. I never understood how to deal with them in a healthy way. And that's what led me to, choose to act out in these ways. So your program just really, blew those doors wide open, and really, had me face those fears and those my past head on, really work through that and see, how I became, I would say the imperfect version of myself that, I was never meant to be. So
yeah. That's powerful, man. Well, let's talk about that identity change. Let's talk about where you are now, right? We're 3 months removed from the decision you made to get control of this. We're at the end of the 12 weeks, literally as we sit here and speak today. You open it up at the beginning saying, hey, I was disconnected from my wife. I was sleeping at my parents' house. Give us an update on the marriage, the relationship, on how things are kind of going there, what you guys are looking forward to. And you've had a lot of other breakthroughs there as well when it comes to your career, come to your health, your fitness, kind of getting some of these things under control and kind of beginning this new season and chapter of your life. So talk to us about kind of where you're at now and how the program kind of led you to here.
yeah, absolutely, man. I This is the most exciting part, just talking about all these different changes. But yeah, that's what I love about your program. It was unlike any other thing I've seen. Such a comprehensive approach. Like, you know, it, it allowed me to see the control that I had. And before, I had a victim mindset, and I always thought that things were done to me, right? And your program, your approach allowed me to really see that so many things to change in my life were in my control. And I like the approach you took where I had to kind of address all facets of my life, which would be, like you said, my fitness, my career, my relationships, my nutrition. So all these things like combined, all these things in unison with each other were how I was able to, break out of this addiction and really move forward into something amazing. So my relationship with my wife is something I can't even explain. Going through the program, I after probably a little over a month, I actually moved back in with my wife, and our relationship just kind of took a 180, and it's been probably the best it's ever been.
Mm.
um, you know, Emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, spiritual intimacy, so many amazing things. It's just getting better each and every single day. So I'm just so grateful for that. That was the main, I guess, motivator going into this. But really, what changed throughout the process, or the, I guess, the weeks here that we made, was that it stopped just becoming about my wife and becoming about me.
Mm.
And I think that was where the hugest breakthrough came through, was because I stopped just doing it for my wife, and I started doing it for me, because that's what the program was revealing to me, is that you have to do these things. I have to do these things for me and
Yeah.
love myself enough to make these changes, to want to become, all this potential that I've had in me. And so my fitness was amazing. I lost like 15 pounds in the first 30 days, and my I'm getting incredibly stronger every single day. It's just amazing. That's probably one of my favorite parts about this whole transformation, is that because I can physically see it, and it's just been amazing, and getting compliments from people, and it's just, that's probably one of the coolest parts. The nutrition part is amazing too. I used to love eating sweets all the time, and I went on the 30-day detox right when the program started. And man, I can just tell you, it's just crazy. Like some of the things that just turn me off now, that I used to love eating, and I just can't stand them anymore. I don't crave them anymore. They're not in my house anymore at all. Again, everything allowed me to see that it starts in my mind. It's a completely different mindset shift. Just everything in my life has been changed and touched in some positive way, and just constantly growing. And not only because I think so, but I've been hearing it from other people around me that have
Yeah.
been complimenting me or sharing about how they see different changes in me, and really encouraging me. So yeah, like I told you, my wife doesn't really know you, but she already loves you because she's just seen what you've done in my life.
That's amazing, man. And those are some of my best stories, man. Is I will hear from spouses and wives that reach out, and I just we're changing legacies, man. Because now, as you guys start to build a family, like you're going to build a family on a strong, secure foundation, and you're going to be the man, the father that your kids need you to be. And it all started with you taking responsibility. Like you said, you had all this within your control. When you guys are hearing Bear talk about the impact on his fitness, the impact in his relationships, the impact in his self-confidence, how he was able to take that confidence and embark on a new career journey for himself. Like, that's the thesis. That's the foundation of Reboot Your Life. The title of our program is Reboot Your Life. And it's very specifically titled that because it's not about ending porn. It's about building the life that porn no longer serves, building a life that porn no longer has a place in. So, Bear, I'm so grateful, man, to have you here today. This is just a powerful journey, a powerful testimony of what can really happen when a guy decides to step up, take action. There are going to be a lot of guys out there that maybe were in the position where you were 3 months ago. Maybe they're not yet kicked out of the home, but there's beginning to see the glimpses of maybe that's where they're going to be. Maybe they're this single guy, though, that doesn't want to take this into his marriage. So for the guy out there right now that is maybe kind of hesitating, taking action, the guy that's kind of on the fence, like, is this program, is this right for me? What would you say to them as we kind of close out today's conversation?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Well, yeah, whoever's out there, whoever's contemplating, joining Coach Frank's program, I'd say that again, do it for yourself. Do it because you want to, at the end of your life, you want to look back and you want to say, I maxed out. I
Mm-hmm.
did everything that I thought I could do, and I went as hard as I could, and I didn't hold back. And in order to do that, you have to get rid of these hindrances, these addictions, these negative ways of dealing with unhealthy ways of dealing with life. Because life is always going to be hard. But once we have the healthy tools and be able to deal with that, once we understand who we are, then there's really nothing that can stop us because everything starts in the mind. All the barriers are built up in the mind. And so once we can overcome that, which Coach Frank's program helps you do, then you will actually be able to face those things and deal with those things in a healthy way and achieve things beyond you've ever, thought possible. And I'd say if there's any guys out there who are, questioning financially or whether the time commitment, I'd say, man, take out a loan or ask for help or really, put your money where your mouth is and say, look, what's the investment that I'm willing to make here? Because you can spend the investment to get help from Coach Frank, or you could lose 10 times that, by not getting the help, which is how I looked at it. I said there's an initial investment that might be, a little scary to take, but what am I really losing in 10, 20, 30 years from now if I don't handle this problem now? So I just say really, really think about, weigh the consequences and say, what are the pros and the cons here? And I say 100% every single day, the pros outweigh the cons.
Amen, man. That's powerful. And yeah, for you guys out there that are maybe on the fence financially, we have a way to make it work with anybody, no matter where you are in your financial situation, whether it's we get you into a payment plan, we look at financing options, we can set things up to where we make it readily and cost affordable for every single person out there. But like Bear said, man, it's a drop in the bucket for the longevity of your life. What happens, if you don't get this under control? What is the cost of a divorce? What is the cost of never living up to your potential? Do it for yourself, though, like he said, because the byproduct, the spillover, when you become the greatest version of you, every single person in your life benefits from that, from your relationships, from your coworkers, from your employees and your staff. So, guys, Bear Harishan, incredible story, powerful testimony of taking control. Guys, if you're looking for some help, if you're interested in maybe hearing more about the program and how it will fit for you, down there in the show notes below, link down here in the description box, you can click the link down there below or visit rebuiltrecovery.com/apply. And this will take you to the application where you need to answer a few small questions so we can make sure you're the right fit. If your application is submitted and accepted, we will book a call with you, myself personally. We can talk about exactly how your life can transform by getting control, taking action, and joining the Reboot Your Life program. But for Bear, your host, Coach Frank Rich here, we love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.